Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. I'm here talking about a potential head coaching candidate for the New Orleans Saints that our guy Ross Jackson wrote about over at LouisianaSports.net. Ross has done a great job kind of staying on top of everything Saints coaching search related, even though they're not in the throes of it. When something pops up, he's always good to give an opinion on such things. And NFL Network insider Tom Pelissero talked about young coaches to look for in the next carousel, and the Saints are going to be involved in that, obviously. And one of the names that surfaced was Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter was the defensive coordinator at Michigan last couple of years when their defense was phenomenal, a national championship defense that was just churning guys out into the NFL, and those guys are having a lot of success in the NFL at this point. And Jim Harbaugh took him to Los Angeles to be the defensive coordinator of the Chargers, and those results have picked up right where they left off at Michigan. You're talking about a guy in Jesse Minter who had the number one defense across a lot of major categories at Michigan, and now the Chargers number one in the NFL in points allowed, as well as some other statistics. They've played exceptional defense. It's not taken really any time at all for Jim Harbaugh to implement that aggressive running game, time of possession, smothering defense, and it works in the Big Ten, and it's working right now in the AFC West. And I think this sounds great to me. Jesse Minter has spent time with Jim Harbaugh. He knows how that operates at a college level and now at the NFL level. He worked for John Harbaugh and the Ravens from 2017, 2020. I think that's a pretty good organization to get a feel for. He's never been a head coach, and that's a chance that you can take. But I'm not someone here who sits here and looks at this Saints job and says, you have to go get a young offensive coach. I think it would be good if they got a young offensive coach. I think Ben Johnson would be a great hire for the New Orleans Saints. I think that some guys off of that tree with that system that they would bring to New Orleans and implement and keep no matter who the position coaches and coordinators were would be a very good thing. But I'm not one that says you have to zig when you've been zagging. We know that that the Saints have had Dennis Allen running the show and the defense. So the thought is when you hire a new coach after firing that one, you have to go the opposite direction. So instead of going with the grizzled veteran defensive retread, you go with a young upstart offensive guy. I'm not someone who thinks that way. I want the right guy. I do like this. I like to have a guy with expertise and a system on one side of the ball. It certainly works other ways. It has worked with Dan Campbell in Detroit. He doesn't have an expertise on one side of the ball. He's a tight end. He doesn't have a system. It has worked brilliantly in Baltimore with John Harbaugh, who's a special teams coach. And you can go to the college level and talk about Dabo Swinney, and he did a great job, and he was a receivers coach. So it can work any different way. I can find examples of anything. I'm just telling you my preference is a guy that controls one side of the football, because that never leaves. It's just hard when you are a head coach that doesn't have a system necessarily, that is constantly having to rehire coordinators and change things. And so to me, that would be a priority. Not something that you have to do, but it would be a priority. And Minter offers that. By all accounts, folks that have worked with him, that have covered him, say he's an incredible communicator. I think that's very, very important. And while I think Dennis Allen's a really bright guy, I think that message may have rung hollow a little bit. Maybe that was because of the results on the field. I'm not really sure. I don't cover the Saints day to day, so I can't be certain. But I just think a guy that is a really effective communicator, and he's shown he can do it with 18, 19, 20-year-old young men. He can do it with professionals. He's gotten the same results. I think this makes a ton of sense. And I think that this is a reality. Well, reality is too strong a word. A probability that the Saints may not get their first choice here, because the Saints' job is not as desirable as some of the ones that are likely to come open or that have already come open. Like the Jets are a mess, but that is in New York, and they have a ton of salary cap room and a good defense. The Bears have a ton of salary cap room and a rookie quarterback who's very talented. That job's going to come open. Those situations feel better than a Saints situation with an aging quarterback who's not uber productive and an awful salary cap situation. So the Saints may end up having to hire someone who's a couple of pegs down the list. And that's where you might find someone like Jesse Minter. I think this makes a ton of sense, and I would be very, very much for that hire if the Saints went that direction. Again, Aaron Glenn makes a lot of sense to me, even though he comes from the Peyton Allen tree. I think that going to the same organization and going to the other side and grabbing Ben Johnson would make a ton of sense. Joe Brady's name's been tossed about, and he's obviously got that situation humming with Josh Allen in Buffalo. But I'm a little bit weary of the Joe Burrow, Josh Allen bump that Brady may be getting over his time in the spotlight. But good players are necessary. But I think that Minter is someone that I'm pro. And I think that's something that we're going to be doing over the next month, 2 months. I think 2 months is where we're looking for the Saints to hire a coach, probably late January. And to me, as we start to get names floated, I'll give you a thumbs up, thumbs down. What is that worth? Not the not the YouTube stream that it's on, but that's why we're here. And so if this is a name that the Saints were interested in looking at, I would absolutely be all for Jesse Minter. He's a proven commodity on one side of the ball, and I think could do a great job in New Orleans. If you're looking for Saints coverage, you can always find it on our YouTube channel, Hunt on Saints. That's also available wherever you find podcasts. So if you don't necessarily love firing up YouTube all the time, you'd rather listen to it on one of the apps that you use your podcasts on, Hunt on Saints is right there on your podcast stream. So go ahead and check that out. Subscribe to the channel and like it. We'd appreciate that very, very much. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.